Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we are talking Dawn from ENVOGUE. Anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagrammies at Anonymous Reality Tea. Free to share everywhere. Free to like the video so it gets out into the algorithm. Free to share with your family, your friends, and your... So we're talking today, Dawn Robinson, formerly of ENVOGUE, who's got my favorite song, Don't Let Go Love. She's like blowing on that song. Well, she has been revealing, allegedly, she has been homeless and living in her car for the past 3 years. No. We got to get into this, you guys. OMG. So let's talk about it. So basically what Dawn Robinson is saying is back in 2020, she was on a press tour. And at this point in time, she was living with her parents. And they live in Las Vegas, right? And so she said it was her, but however, it was her and her mom that was starting not to see eye to eye. So she said that she felt that her mom was always upset all the time, was always, and they were going back and forth, they were arguing, and she felt her mom was projecting or taking out whatever she was frustrated or upset about, she was taking it out on her daughter, Dawn Robinson, and Dawn felt she could not take this anymore and basically left the premises. She said that at this point, this first go around, she was sleeping in the car for about a month or so. Then she somehow encountered a guy who allegedly was co-managing her. Doesn't say who this guy is, doesn't reveal his name, but somehow basically through the game out there, through the trap, set the bait and switch upon her and convinced her to leave Las Vegas, which I feel, cost of living, if you're taking things outside of the strip or whatever, cost of living's not too bad, right? But comparing it to Los Angeles, where this co-manager convinced her to go, where you're talking about groceries are high, everything is high. I remember I was in Los Angeles for a project, and the rent there for a 1-bedroom apartment with like an attached garage for an assignment I was on, why did it cost almost the same as the mortgage for my actual home in the state I live in? Make it make sense, you guys. So nonetheless, she goes out to LA, right? Because the guy convinced her, this co-manager convinces her, you can stay at my place in LA. I got a spot for you in my spot in LA. You can stay here until you land on your feet, right? And basically said that there wasn't a lot of room in his place, but he was going to make room for Dawn Robinson, y'all. But basically, it turned out basically whatever room he did have, it was not going to be for Dawn to stay there. It is basically reading between the lines, right? Whether there was room there or not, it was not an environment that Dawn was going to be able to stay there. So nonetheless, he says, you know what? I'm going to put you up in a hotel room for one night and we'll get this all sorted. The one night only in the hotel, y'all, turned into 8 months. No. 8 months at a hotel, you guys. And she felt Dawn Robinson was not happy with this because she felt she was trying to, lessen the burden and everything else. She was trying to be active and look for apartments, look for different places to stay. And she would send him videos and all this and that so that she can get on her feet, get her own place, this and that. And anytime, he was supposed to meet her at the apartment complex or whatever, he always came up with an excuse. He never was there or anything. And so she felt, you know, she was talking to an assistant about how she's been researching car life and how she felt that there was a community of people she didn't know until she realized and discovered, I guess, that there was like a community of people who live out of their cars, like RVs and vans and things. And so she felt, you know, with this alleged co-manager that he is trying to get her to fall for the okie doke. And basically felt as though, you know, she was trying to lessen his burden because his rent for his place he was staying at was $1,700 a month, and then he's paying for her to stay at a hotel, and he was doing weekly payments, but it rounded out to like around $3,000, y'all. That he was paying, you know, something odd weekly or something crazy. And it's like she felt that, or I don't know if it was $3,000 a week or $3,000 monthly. My apologies, but $3,000 was the magic number that he was paying at least, or at the minimum, per month for her to stay at a hotel. But it would not surprise me in Cali if, in fact, a hotel was $3,000 a week. Nonetheless, he was basically struggling, and it got to a point where he was struggling financially, or so he says. I don't know. And she felt that this was a way of him to keep her under his thumb, a way of control, a way of manipulation, a way for Dawn Robinson to remain dependent upon him and all this and that. Dawn reveals that there were 3 people that were supporting her, and it was that keeps her afloat, which is her mother-in-law, also her assistant, and also her brother. Also reveals that when she left the hotel, so she officially left the hotel just a touch under 3 years, or a touch over 3 years ago. She left March 9th, 2022, and she hit the road to Malibu. And then when she went to Malibu, she recalls hearing Avant's remake of the song Sailing and how much she loves his voice and loves his rendition. Mentions that the first night that she lived in the car, she was scared, she was afraid, but she quickly kind of figured out the do's and don'ts of living in a car and how she feels a sense of freedom. Oh boy. Says that this is not a situation where she wants people to feel sympathy for her, does not want this to be a situation where this is like a woe is me or anything like that. She feels that she's learned a lot about herself and throughout this experience. Feels that, you know, if somebody would have told her back when she was in the group ENVOGUE, if this would be her life, if she would be living out of a car for the past 3 years, that she would not have believed them saying that. Said that this is coming out now because her assistant told her that she should expose her current circumstances, and stated that the fans are going to be proud of her and will inspire them. And said that she's excited to document this adventure and this spiritual journey that she's doing for herself, and that she hopes that this journey of her living in a car and being homeless for over 3 years is going to inspire people. So boy. Let me say this first and foremost. First and foremost, thoughts and prayers go out to Dawn Robinson. First and foremost, thoughts and prayers go out to Dawn Robinson. I hope and pray that her mental health is okay. I hope and pray that this, you know, that something, you know, comes of this. But I want to say this, y'all. Because I think there's some confusion. Dawn Robinson is not back at ENVOGUE. Maxine is. And we discovered that back in February of this year via the All-Star Weekend. The NBA All-Star Weekend. And I believe ENVOGUE is still touring as we speak. So Dawn Robinson, for whatever reasons, is not with the group ENVOGUE. That's number 1. Number 2, we know Dawn Robinson can sing her behind off. And there should be no reason in any capacity that she should be homeless. Now, she did at least have one, you know, family member and her parents that were willing to still take her in, but she got sick of the arguing. Now, we don't know if she reached out to any other relatives or things like that to live with them as well, or if this was just like, you know, after dealing with this with my mom, I don't want to do it anymore. Now, I will say this, right? When you become an adult and for whatever reason, you may have to stay with your parents for whatever, right? If you have a divorce or you come on hard times or you lose a job or whatever, it could be all types of things, or you get sick. It's different living with your parents when you are growing up as a kid, versus when you are an adult and you've made some money, you've had some success at something, and then you have to go back to your parents' house, right? Or you're still living there while you're becoming successful. No. So I'm not going to go too hard about that aspect. What I do have a question about is Dawn working in any capacity? Because it sounds like, for all intents and purposes, it's music or bus. It sounds like it's singing or bus. It is what it's getting. This isn't a situation like Jeffrey Owens, formerly of The Cosby Show, that was working in Trader Joe's in between acting gigs. I didn't get from, at least the clips that I heard, that there was anything that she was actively working on, as in like a regular 9 to 5, in between whenever she gets gigs and gets opportunities. Then I'm trying to figure out, okay, there's people that are supporting your lifestyle, but what does that mean if you're still ultimately living in a car? Are they just giving you money for food? Like what does that all entail? And you mentioned a mother-in-law, so does this mean that if you are married, does this mean that your husband or significant other is also living in the car with you as well? And I remember, was it Paula Joy, is that her name? Who was the actress that... Remember her and her husband were living out of a hotel as well for a while? For a very long time, actually. And I also remember when Shanice Wilson and her husband, Flex Alexander, they had fell on hard times and, were struggling, and they had some people to eventually help them out as well. Y'all, the music industry isn't what y'all think it is. Let me just say that. A lot of your faves that are doing all this stunting on the gram, are doing all this flossing on the gram, or are flaunting about certain numbers and tour numbers and tour sales and all this and that. When you do these breakdowns, this is why I miss Left Eye. But Left Eye broke it down so eloquently on that Behind the Music special, where she was breaking down how much the record companies are really making off of you, and how much money they basically take out for everything. Whether you're recording the album, you're shooting the music video, all of that, they're charging you. They are charging you for all that stuff, right? And really, the money comes in touring. But the thing with touring is you have to be careful about some of these managers and these promoters. And you have to be careful even with some of these big stadium tours, because you're paying a whole bunch of extra for all the pyrotechnics, all of the extra production, all of the hundreds of dancers, all of that. That's what happened with MC Hammer when MC Hammer had fell on hard financial times back in the day. Was you are paying all that money to have all these big shows, but then by the time you get to your cut of everything, after everyone else gets paid, your money is not there. The money's not there, y'all. Shout out to Janet Jackson for her last Together Again tour, of just scaling it all back. They said it was her best grossing tour of all the tours she's ever done, even the Velvet Rope, because I think the Velvet Rope previously was like her highest grossing tour. But she understood that you don't need all the pyrotechnics, you don't need 100 dancers, you don't need 50 million band players. She kept it minimal with, I believe, 4 dancers. She had a DJ, a small, just small backup people or whatever. But it was nothing extravagant, and she gave you live vocals. See, this is what you can do when you have hits, and you don't need all the extra theater to distract from the fact that you don't have the hits. But separate from my thoughts on the entertainment industry and how they rip off these artists and everything else, and people don't own their publishing, or people are selling their publishing because the gigs, the opportunities aren't the same, or the new music that they're making isn't selling, people aren't streaming it. I feel like there's more to this story with Dawn Robinson that we do not have to kind of put everything into the full picture. But the bottom line is, you know, it also might be an element of pride too, where like singing is all you know, performing is all you know, so there's nothing else you want to do. But it sounds like, again, there's unresolved beef still with ENVOGUE that is also preventing, you know, you to get that check. And keep in mind too, even with that check, you're splitting it, right? You're splitting it whether they're a trio or a foursome or however many are in the group, right? So I just hope that with this getting out to many people, that hopefully Dawn still has some friends in the music industry, still has people who are going to be willing to maybe lend a helping hand of sorts, or, you know, or help her with gigs, or help her with whatever she needs. Because it seems like whoever these alleged managers are just taking advantage of her. And I'm confused with having an assistant, but you live in a car. I'm still trying to process that and all of the things. But, you know, I don't find living in a car freedom. That's my opinion. Freedom to me is being able to have a place that you reside in, that you can come and go as you please, that you have a shelter over your head, you have food, you have water, you have heat, you have air conditioning, and all of the things. You have a home. You have your own home, that you call the shots, you make the own rules. I don't find living in a car, calling my own shots and making my own rules. Living in a car means I'm struggling. Means I'm not just struggling. I am, you know, 1 foot in the street, essentially. I'm confused about living in a car is freedom. No. It's anything but. I don't find anything freedom. No. And there's nothing free about living in a car, you guys. I don't care how comfortable the whip is. There is no way I'm spending 24/7 living in a vehicle. Are you kidding me? No. So I feel like I said, there's more to this story that we need to get the full picture on. Thoughts and prayers to Dawn. But what the heck? And screw this music industry, you guys. See, some of y'all want to be famous out here. Some of y'all want to be famous singers or famous actors or whatever. And I'm trying to tell y'all, it's not what y'all think it is. It is not what y'all think it is. You are not about to be Denzel or Will Smith out the gate. Y'all are not about to be out here being like Beyonce or Rihanna or anything like here out the gate. It's not happening. We are in a different time. Why do you think so many 90s groups and things are touring now? That is where they're getting their money. That is where they're giving a livable income. Why do you think so many people were doing those biopics? Because there was a bag to obtain. But nonetheless, as far as Dawn goes, I am hoping that something can come of this to where her situation can change for the better, because this isn't it. This isn't cool. I don't like this for her at all. So there is that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.